how does the text say it? Looking for that organizational structure. Is it compare and contrast? Is there a lot of dialogue? Does the author use repetitive language? Does the author use vocabulary, tier 3 vocabulary? That's all about how does the text say it. Looking at the structure of the text, the length of the sentences, all of that comes into play. And then the highest level, what does the text mean? And in this case with the TDA, not what does the text mean to the task. Okay? Most often, as a close reader, what does the text mean? We want to take it back. What does the text mean to me when I'm when I'm reading a passage and when I'm talking about my science content? And then after I've decided that for myself, then I need to have that conversation in small group. Do we concur? Does the evidence in the text support it? All of this also happens much more places than just in our ELA block. A lot of good work that can happen with science and social studies and even with math. These next slides I'm going to go through rather quickly. These are set up for you as you're working with your group of students. So each slide can be an opportunity for sort of a chunk of learning. Okay? So thinking about standards number 1 and 2, the key ideas and details. So if I'm planning for close reading of a passage, one that is going to be available as a sample, or one that's in Wonders, or one that's in your science or social studies content, you can look at the first read in this regard. The story arc, thinking about the problem, the solution, the events, then the climax, and the resolution. Then going back for a second read, looking at those key ideas. I know that we continue in Grand Blanc across our grade levels, finding details that support the main idea. Okay? So what's the main idea? Sometimes that's provided. Other times we're asking our students to determine what is the main idea. And those details to back it up. You have these slides, and if you don't have the email from me, that would be a great thing to put in and say, hey, Pam, I didn't get it, or send it out again, please. And then moving on, how does the text say it? Again, this is much more middle school, the connotation, sort of that underlying meaning. But here, the shades of meaning in the figurative language. That's all part of our Michigan standards right now for all of our students, that vocabulary acquisition. So you're thinking, wow, this is a lot, right? Should this be something that we would do in one sitting? Absolutely not. This would be something that you would work on over a number of days, coming back to that same passage, okay? Back to that same social studies piece of text. And then moving on to what was the author's purpose? What does it mean? What are those underlying inferences? Notice how the parts now come together more so as a whole. And then putting it together in that composed piece of writing. And again, I extended this so that it would encompass middle school learners as well. This particular slide can help you as a teacher as you're composing and forming those text-dependent questions. And we have lots of resources that we're currently using that the text-dependent questions are already provided. So you don't have to think those up, okay? In our passages with our newest resources in ELA, those close reading dependent questions are already provided. So we're doing a good bit of this work already. I'm going to skip that. That's just a screen of the rubric. This last page, text-dependent analysis links that you have. Okay, so if you're using the actual Google Slides, these are actually live links. Okay. I provided this hard copy, mini lesson ideas. Again, how might you go about this in experience and exposure? There's lots of ideas at this link. The Nebraska text-dependent samples, but all of this is housed at the M-STEP. And I put the link right here under Melissa Wings Weebly, okay? And it should go directly to that particular link under resources. I want to make sure that there's lots of resources that you can tackle. This one is actually a text-dependent wrap that focuses on transitions. So if that's something that you want to preview and think that your students might enjoy, or actually seeing how valuable it is to get them to remember to use transitions. Okay? If you have additional questions, you'll type them in the box, please, and then I'm going to take some questions from here. I know that middle school and Perry Innovation are going to be seeing their students real soon. I appreciate your time this morning. I'm going to be available. Please don't hesitate. I think probably what's most important is to spend some time in your PLC when available, and you're planning to actually go through some of the samples. The Michigan Department of Ed at the M-STEP does have samples, so it's not that we don't at Michigan. At our M-STEP site, there certainly are examples and samples there, but I think to get the scored ones, the Nebraska site actually has many more to choose from. And that winds us up this morning for our first go-around of trying to attempt this district-wide. So have a great